Okay, go ahead, Leah.
All right, let's try that one more time. Welcome everyone to our Saturday morning Team Evolve business training. I'm super excited to be here with you. My name is Leah Stastny. I am joining you from Houston, Texas, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Juliana. And tell me where you are, girl. What part of the country are you in? West Coast?
I'm Juliana Coles, and I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Oh, very nice. Well, we are excited to have everyone, and you're going to start it off for us this morning. So we've got some great information to share with everyone. So we hope you are ready for it.
Okay, hello, everyone. So Leah and I are partnering up on this for the first time, and we are filling in for Marcy and Dr. Stacy and Peter. So I'm excited to take you on a little journey with Leah. I'm going to be covering the first half, and she's covering the second half. And it's going to be, first of all, a down and in journey. I'm going to be focusing on internal and external frames. And then about the halfway point, we're going to go on an up and out journey. And Leah's going to be focusing on events. She is the event queen. And we are so lucky to have her to talk about how she has built her team very quickly and using events. So to start off with frames, framing is how spell casting works in the real world. Frames motivate people through importance, size, scope, fear of missing out, or all of the above. Frames speak to the emotional part of the brain where decision-making truly happens. The emotional part of the brain really rules the analytical part of the brain. Most people like to give facts. And hey, Leah, can you let people in, please?
I'm doing that.
Okay, good. Most people think that by giving facts, you're going to be able to change someone's ideas about something. But in actuality, it's the emotions that make them decide. People decide within the first 30 seconds if they want to do something or not. And then the analytical part of their brain just backs up that decision. So you really want to get to the emotional part of the brain. So first, I'm going to talk about internal framing that we do with ourselves. And I'm going to talk about intentions versus goals. So a goal is a desired outcome. It's the end result that you don't have yet, but you come up with by using your mind to analyze your thoughts about a problem that needs solving. Emotional responses triggered by these thoughts often influence this goal. So an example is, I have a goal that I want to become more flexible so I can do advanced yoga positions. An intention is an energetic starting point for my goal. It's powerfully authentic. It's a powerfully authentic vow that comes from my core. It goes deeper than the mind, coming from a state of pure awareness. The best way to determine my truest intention is to meditate. I like to find a quiet place to sit uninterrupted. I focus on my breath, and I allow my mind to just dissolve, to go into a place of stillness and silence. And then once I've reached this out of mind state, I allow my intentions to be revealed to me. It's really just a state of listening. And so my goal, where my goal might be to become more flexible, my intention would be to live in a state of unbridled joy where my body is fluid and is just the same way my mind is fluid and my spirit is fluid. So I just have this intention of the way I want to be that really informs every moment of my life, because I can tap into it and it's authentically part of my inner being. A goal is a destination or a specific achievement. So it's an external achievement. So like if you say I'm going to compete in a triathlon next month, that would be a goal. And then the intention would be something that you would live each day. And an intention is about the inner relationship you have with yourself. So an example of that, of an intention that could go along with that goal of competing in a triathlon is, I want to peak my health and maintain that for the rest of my life. So that's informing why I have set that goal. Living your intentions is different than having a goal-oriented focus. It's not about winning or losing. Intentions allow you to focus on how you want to be in the moment, regardless of winning or losing. I'm just letting some people in here. Focusing on your intentions does not mean giving up your goals. It actually means you found a powerful ongoing support to help you achieve your goals. Intentions give you the daily rhythm, motivation, and accountability you need to accomplish your goals and transform your life. So I feel like us having an intention is the starting point to having a goal. And so maybe let's take a moment and just let's talk about our intention in being here on this call. So the goal was to get on the call, but what is it that is motivating you from deep within to even consider being on this call, that made being on this call this morning on a Saturday morning? I'm sure it's beautiful and sunny out where you are, and there's a lot of other things you could be doing right now other than sitting and watching your computer. So what's the internal frame that you've created for yourself that's authentically part of who you are, that's motivated you to accomplish the goal? And bravo for being here and accomplishing that goal of being disciplined enough to be in front of your computer on a Saturday morning right now. So I'm just going to give you a moment to tune in internally. This isn't something that comes from your head. It's something that comes from your heart. And there's many possible intentions someone would have that would motivate them to have the goal of being on this call. So I'm just going to ask for a few volunteers. Is there anyone who would very briefly want to share with me your intention that motivated you to have the goal of being on this call today? Just raise your hand. Okay, great. I'm going to unmute you. It says owner's phone, so I don't know your name, but you've got your hand up there. And I just asked you to unmute.
I'm Guyla, by the way.
Okay, just a minute. I'm asking someone to unmute. I'm looking at her. She's got long hair and she's raising her hand. Yes. Can you unmute yourself? The only way you're going to be able to talk to me is if you unmute yourself.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Hi, what's your name, please? And where are you?
Oh, my name is Guyla.
Hi, Guyla.
And it's funny you should ask that question, because this is what I've been thinking about this morning is, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? How much do I want to accomplish? And in what time frame am I going to do it? And so this is why I actually have gotten involved with the patches, and I'm putting everything else aside and zeroing in on the patches and trying to help as many people as I can. And
so what is your, Guyla, I'm going to interrupt you.
Okay.
And excuse me for doing that, but we need to keep this very brief. What is the intention that informed your goal to get on the call today? Is it to help as many people as you can? Is that the intention?
Yes,
that you
I
have?
wanted to, yes, to learn more so that I can impart it on other people.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay,
You're
you can
welcome.
mute. There you go. And anyone else want to share? Okay, Mary France. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Yes, good morning. Oh, am I still muted?
No, you're
No.
unmuted. We hear
Okay.
you.
Well, it's very simple. I want to learn. I want to learn the business. I want to learn how to share, and that's why I'm on the call. That's
Well, those
why.
sound okay. I'm going to interrupt you. Those sound like goals. And what is informing those goals? Why? What deeper reason do you have for wanting to do that?
Well, to residual income.
And why do you want that?
because I'm from Canada, and I things are not as good as they used to be, and so I want to make sure that I'm covered for long term.
So could I suggest something? Is
Mhm.
it possibly you want safety and well-being in your life?
Well, yeah, but I've been doing that for the last 2 years, so now it's more. I've been on 5 modalities to
That's
change.
okay. That's okay. We don't need to talk about that. I'm just doing this for the sake of time. So I'm just trying to get to the underlying reason internally you're wanting to generate income and all this. And it sounds to me like it's because you want financial and physical
Yeah.
well-being in your life. And then you, by sharing that, you give that to others.
Yeah,
Okay,
income.
great. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll take one more. Jess?
Thanks. Hi. I chose not to go out and take the walk to be here because I am so driven to improve myself in every aspect, and there's a desire to open and change.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you so much. And so what's more compelling for you, everyone, and I'm not asking you to answer this out loud, but answer it to yourself. When you hear someone say that I'm driven to expand and open myself, or I'm driven to make more money, and I'm driven to make calls, and I'm driven to make sales. The inner reason, the bigger frame is what appeals to the emotional body. The other one appeals to the intellect, which again, it's not to say that you can't have one without, you can have both, but coming from that deeper place is what we call the big frame, which is really important. And that's what I'm here to focus on today. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to change over and talk about external frames, how we frame what we're doing with other people. And there's a book that I recommend all the time. It's one of my favorite books. I am never without it, very close to me. And it's called Start With Why. And it's by Simon Sinek. And you can also go to YouTube and put in Simon Sinek, Sinek, and you can hear him live. And he does TED Talks, and he's one of my heroes business-wise. And it's really, it doesn't have to be about business. It's about anything. If you're a parent and you're trying to get your children not to eat ice cream every day, do you think it's more important to say, don't eat ice cream every day, or you're getting a timeout and you're going to have to go to your room and you're grounded? Or is it better to say, or do you think it'd be more effective to say, I love you so much that I want you to be the best person you can possibly be. And I'm going to show you how to do that by buying you food that's going to feed your body and your cells so you grow up to be a strong, healthy girl or boy. Which one's going to appeal to your child more? Then, because you love and care for her and you really want the best for her, she's much more open to listening to how you expect, how that could possibly happen. Because you're a teammate with her, you've let her know your intention. So when we approach people about our magnificent products, how do we do that? The typical way that 99% of people do it is they start with what, and then they go to how, and then they go to why. So they say, oh my gosh, what do you know about stem cells? I've got something for you. It's amazing. It's new technology. Look at this thing. It's right here. In fact, I have it in the back of my neck. You've got it. Don't you want to know what that is? Well, what are people thinking immediately? Oh my gosh, back up. You're trying to sell me something. Well, now what is this? Last month you told me about something else. Now it's this. What else are you trying to sell to me? Right? That's immediately what comes into people's subconscious when they hear the what. It doesn't matter what the what is. And they're already guarding. Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, right. How do you know it works? You're not a scientist. I don't believe in it. They're getting their defenses up immediately. What's another way we could do it? We could frame it starting with the why first. Why are we wanting to share this with you? Then the how. And then the last thing is the what. So I'm going to give you an example from Simon's book. He talks about Apple Computer. And now just tune in if you can, just sit where you're sitting and tune into your body and see if you can just feel, not think, but feel which one of these resonates most with you. I'm going to start with the typical way that 99% of people would approach trying to tell someone about the wonders of the Apple computer, which I personally believe. I love my Apple computer. I would not ever want to change over. And I've had an Apple computer ever since I can remember. So this is how most people would talk about it. If I were working for Apple Computer at the Apple Store, we make great computers. They're beautifully designed. And that's a what, right? What do we make? That's how I'm starting. Now I'm going to the how. They're beautifully designed and user friendly. And then want to buy one? That's the end. Now, does that make you want to buy one? Or are you saying, well, wait a minute, how much do they cost? I don't know. Of course, you're telling me that you make great computers because you work for Apple. How much of a commission do you make? Well, what are the competitors are out there? Let me check. How do you compare to all the other ones? I've got my cackles up. I'm immediately suspect. Now, let me tell you about another approach, starting with why. With everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. Now, does that say one thing about computers? But I can immediately tune into challenging the status quo. And I'd go, yeah, me too. I love to challenge the status quo. I love to think differently. How can I join you? Because my emotions are involved. And then I'm going to go to the how. It's the same how as before. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed and user-friendly. What a concept, right? And then the last thing is the what. And we happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? I'm all over it. Like, I can't get my credit card out fast enough because I want to join the movement of challenging the status quo. Okay, so that's an example. Now I'm going to use an example closer to home. This is the Life Wave mission. I don't know how many of you have ever read it, but it's on the Life Wave website. We're here to help people feel better, look younger, and lead more joyful lives. Where is it talking about patches? Where is it talking about stem cells? Where is it talking about photobiomodulation? Isn't that what you all say at the beginning when you start talking about LifeWave? Okay, now the how. We do this through wellness products that tap into the body's natural energy and resiliency, and through business opportunities that inspire personal and professional fulfillment. How's that sound? I want that. I want wellness products to tap into my natural resiliency. And I want a business opportunity to inspire my personal and professional fulfillment. Have I said anything about patches? Have I said anything about stem cells? Have I said anything about photobiomodulation? But I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm just like dripping I'm salivating, waiting to hear, how do I do this? And then the next sentence is, want to try out our photobiomodulation patches or join us as an independent distributor? Well, I'm all over it. Like, I can't sign up fast enough. Now I'm going to give you one more example, and this is even closer to home. This is our Evolve team mission statement. This is how it starts. Love is at the core of our work. Evolve is committed to promoting holistic well-being by fostering mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual growth. Did you hear anything about patches? Did you hear anything about money? Did you hear anything about sales? Love, holistic well-being, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual growth. Does that motivate you? Are you interested? Are you listening? I am. Now, this is the how. We believe, because people will say, okay, that sounds great. That's a grandiose statement, but how are you going to accomplish that? We believe in treating everyone with compassion and respect. We value authenticity and inclusiveness. We are dedicated to ongoing personal growth and development. We strive to empower our partners to reach their fullest potential. So that's a lot of bullet points of how they're going to do that, how they're going to share their love and promote physical and mental and emotional, spiritual well-being. And then everyone's just waiting for the what. And I'll tell you another secret when you're presenting to people is you always want to pause. Have there be a break in the action. The person with the most power speaks less and pauses more. So then the person's salivating and wanting to know how they can get the love that we're offering. And then I say, well, we're a network of independent distributors of LifeWave's transformative biohacking technology. Want to know more? And literally, the secret is the less you say, the better. Because what do we do at that point? We get them on a podcast. You don't need to tell them anything more. That's really the secret to starting with a big frame, getting their hearts listening, not their analytical minds that are going to shoot you down every time and want every fact and have every objection, getting their hearts involved, and then just doing the dance with them of you say a little bit and then let them say a little bit. And then you say a little bit and they say a little bit, and then pause and wait for them to say, tell me more. I want to join you. Let's lock arms. I'm all in. So I have come up with a few frames that I use for this business, and I'm going to share them with you. So one is about light being the medicine of the future. So this is, again, how I start with people. This is the frame I start with to win people's hearts. Did you know light is the mechanism for the body's systemic cooperation? And again, this is pretty detailed, so I'm just telling you this because I know you all work in this field of light. So I want you just to know this. That's so exciting. All tissues and cells and molecules throughout the body work together naturally, quickly, effortlessly, and instinctually, which enable us to embody aliveness, presence, clarity, and grace. For all parts of the body to communicate optimally, some type of rapid cell-to-cell communication must be taking place. And what is that rapid cell-to-cell communication? It's through photons and light waves. Photons are centers of light. Every cell in your body has a photon. They communicate with one another by sending waves of light. And what do we have? We have something that emits light, that uses light. Light continually guides our lives. Light is more than waves and particles. Light is the purveyor of consciousness. Light seeks us out in the same way as it directs a plant to grow toward it. And David explains that when we put a patch on our bodies, the light that emanates from our bodies reflects on the crystal matrix embedded in the patch, producing different wavelengths of light, which communicate with the body to support it in activating its innate healing potential. So I personally get off on that kind of stuff. That's my excitement button. So when I start talking about light, and then other people go, oh yeah, light. In fact, that's what Peter said to me when he first told me about Lightwave. All he said to me is, Juliana, you know about light. He and I'd worked together in another company that was about energy. And he knew that I was into energy. And so he says, you're into light, right? You know about light and how light heals. I'm like, I love light. Yeah, I love, anything with light. Tell me about it. And then he told me, I've got these little patches and they actually reflect the light that comes off of our body. And then I was in. That's all he said to me. He didn't talk to me about anything else. And then another frame for those of you who don't get as excited as I do about light is the physical well-being part. It's like, I embrace a long and vibrant life, aging without pain and degeneration, total cellular renewal. I'm not buying the lies of big pharma, the propaganda of that they're pushing just to generate dollars. Stem cells are nature's regenerative engine. And that quote came from Tony Robbins in Life Force. So anything you want to say about that, just in general, about most people are familiar with the regenerative quality of stem cells. So you start talking about why you want to regenerate. You don't want to end up at a home for the elderly and having your kids take care of you. You want to be vibrant until you take your last breath. That's where you start with that. And then you get into the hows and the whats. And then the last frame is financial well-being. And it's certainly not the least, but it's a big frame. I believe in right livelihood. I use my innate gifts to contribute to the well-being of my family, my community, and to the world. If I said that to someone, they'd go, yeah, me too. I want right livelihood. I don't want to have these menial jobs that mean nothing to me. And then I might say also, I'm not trading my time for money. Everyone has limited time, regardless of your wage. Your income is capped if you're being paid by the hour. I have a husband who is a doctor and he gets paid a salary and he has to ask for permission to take vacation. How's that after doing medical school and millions of years of studying constantly? Another one is, I want the leverage of a big business owner without the complications of owning a brick and mortar establishment, having employees, doing bookkeeping, etc. That's another frame. Or I am an independent entrepreneur. I have no limit on my income. I work with a team. We have a cooperative, loving business model. So any of those frames that spark you, that's a place to start. So now we've got 3 minutes until I'm turning it over to Leah. So I'm going to just open the floor for any questions or comments you may have. And I hope this was helpful to you. Anyone want to comment on a frame or internal or external?
How can we have this script written down?
Well, this actually
Exactly. Yes.
this came from my heart, and I have it all handwritten in my notes, but I will do my best to create something.
I have a question.
My
So-
kind of script.
Do you, oh,
Yes, go ahead, Fawn.
I just have it's you do that so well. Did you I mean, it's a lot to memorize, but I feel like that would be really important. We just need to really memorize these things, because you've got the mission statement for LifeWave, then the Evolve specific mission statement, and then the things that you added yourself, which were really great. Yeah, it would be really nice, because it's such a great presentation.
Yeah, well, thank you. But let me say something. First of all, the Evolve mission statement is available on at startx39biz.com.
Okay.
And the LifeWave mission statement, I think it's I'm trying to remember where that is, but I'll definitely send this all out to you all, but I just got them on the internet, they're available. And then that book, Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And there's also a workbook that goes along with that. And like I said, you can go to YouTube and there's many, talks that he gives and TED Talks. So everything that I said is available. But I will, do my best to see if it's not about memorizing. If you're memorizing, you're coming from your head and you didn't get my points at all.
Well, I get that. I was going to say it's my heart, but for me to put the words together, I stumble over words when I'm trying to share something that it really means a lot to me. So I guess not really memorizing, but I mean, it is something that you have to really practice saying what you really want to say. And that's what
just remember
it comes off
why.
so good.
Yeah. Why, how, what? And that book, Start With Why, will guide you through that.
Okay.
It's really
Thank
important. Oh, thank you. And someone said that it's on the LifeWave mission statement is on the InTouch app. Okay. And we're dangerous waters. We've got 1 minute left, but I'm going to go to, is it Maria? Yeah. I can't say your name. I know who you are too. You have to unmute quickly and very brief, please, or I'm going to have to cut you off.
Okay, I just want to say, when you're speaking from your heart and your beliefs, it creates great response. That's it.
Thank you.
I'm a talk master, and this is what I study, because I talk too much.
Thank
So
you.
I study talk.
Okay, thank you. Kathy Coker. You need to unmute. Kathy? Did you want to say something?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay,
I
I'm sorry.
was just
I
putting
saw
it-
that
I
your
was
hand-
putting Telegram link
Oh,
in the
no
chat.
problem. Okay, and Holly, I saw you had your hand up. Holly Purdy, please.
Yes. Hi, Juliana. How are
Hi,
you?
Holly. Fine, thank you.
Very quickly, the only question I have is Simon Sinek. How do you spell his last name?
Sinek.
Sinek. Thank you.
My pleasure. Okay, well, it was wonderful to share with you all. I'm glad that you got something out of it, or I hope you did. Those of you who said that they did, I'm happy to hear that. And I'm going to now turn it over to our lovely Leah, who's going to talk to us about how to take the frame once you've attracted your group. And now you want to put on an event for everyone to be together and to celebrate. Leah, take over.
Thank you so much. I had to unmute myself. Yeah, I'm going to talk to you guys about events. I'm going to be sharing a screen with you. So if you don't already have your view set on speaker view, you'll want to put it on speaker view so you'll be able to see my screen. So events came pretty easily for me when I joined LifeWave 2 years ago, because I came out of a career where I was doing presentations with architects and interior designers. So it was a good fit. And then I was also doing builder shows. So I was, had all the samples, all the things, tugging all of this stuff around. And so when I joined LifeWave, let me go ahead and share my screen so I can get this up for you guys. So talking a little bit about events and what it can look like in your LifeWave business. Get our presentation here going. All right, so again, this is what my sample, and you'll see my wagon at the end that I use, but I was lugging around hundreds of pounds of glass samples in my last job. So when I started doing events, I just started doing some research. I did outdoor events, fall festivals, those are getting ready to start everywhere. Find out who's the organizer and reach out. And they're always looking for vendors, outdoor markets, farmers markets, holistic markets. And you can see kind of the different things. The only thing you have to be aware of is outside the wind, because you'll have to have things that won't blow over. So I've got a lot of different examples of different events that I have done in the last 2 years. I've done some fitness centers and gymnasiums. In this particular fitness center, it was a customer appreciation day, and they had all kinds of vendors in. And they typically call me after you get in the first one, they'll typically call you back to do them. Then there was another appreciation kind of an event where there were different activities and challenges. So that's the picture in the middle. And then in a fitness center, the busiest time, go in and talk to the owner or the manager and see what their busiest hours are. And you just need to set up a couple hours, right? And then another place is in boutiques. My girlfriend Gretchen owns a great little boutique, and she let me come in and set up for a couple of hours in the busiest time of her afternoon. And then of course, in-home parties, you guys, those are always great. I've been doing those consistently for the last 2 years. Chamber of Commerce is another great place to look for events. Call your local chamber. This particular chamber event that we did was up in the middle of the state of Texas, and they did a vendor event a couple of days before, and we were able to share with them. We were going to be back on Friday to do an actual presentation. So check with your chamber events. I also did a professional bodybuilding competition. Again, these promoters of these events are always happy to have vendors come in, especially people with cutting edge technology.
We'll go soon. We'll go to the store.
And then spas and boutiques, boutique fitness centers. The image in the middle is at a franchise here in Texas called Hot Works. And I met this gal in San Antonio, and she's opened 2 of them. And she has invited me to be a vendor at her grand opening of one, and another of a customer appreciation day. And just sharing information it should be your goal when you go to these events. This image over on the right, I actually found an event up in Saratoga Springs, New York, And because my sister lives near there, I signed up for this event and was off and running. Again, it was minimal stuff, and you guys will see it at the end. The things that I put on my table, very minimal, very easy to travel with. So as you can see, this is when I started 2 years ago, the image on the left. I had a $20 tablecloth, everything that was on my table, I printed. And then you can see what I've gotten it evolved to, right? I've made the investment after 2 years for that beautiful tablecloth. The banners, you guys all know that Sally Fung can get you that information, and you can find that on our startx39biz.com website and scroll to the bottom and find marketing materials. And you can see it's very minimal stuff on my table. So one of the things is, of course, I love all the framing that Juliana shared with us, and that's exactly what you do at these events. I encourage people to be engaging with people and don't sit behind the table if you've got chairs behind the table. Be on the outside of your table and just engage with people and start conversations with people. So what my clients or my potential prospects walk away from my table with. Now, of course, I've had a good 10 or 15 minute conversation with them, depending on, I try to judge their body movement. I guess that's probably all in that framing as well. But this is what they walk away from my table with. I found these blue envelopes at Office Depot for $12.99 for 50, and they're letter size. I have copies of the health tracker front and back. I've got a copy of the instruction card, that the great envelopes that Marcy does with the samples in them, as well as the what to expect. That's printed on one page. And I do print those in color just because they look so great. And then of course the product, all the different products, and then an order form. And you guys, when I give people this envelope, I always pull everything out, show them and explain to them what they're getting, show them how it's priced, and then I'll put it back in their envelope. I'll stick my business card in there. And then for the Tuesday night calls, I know most of you are familiar with those. If you're not, look at, again, that biz site that Dr. Stacy does. A doctor Q&A is what we call it, or what I call it. We've been doing it for over a year. And I have those, I put 4 on a page, printed up, I cut them, and one of those goes in their envelope. So I'm making sure that everyone that walks away has a full packet of everything that they could possibly want. And then you see I made a sticker for the front of my envelopes. I put the team logo on it, our Evolve logo, with my information, and try to have everything on, all of your contact information on your paperwork if it's possible, if you don't have it all put together in a packet. And a lot of the people walking around the markets end up with bags of things, and I don't want all my paperwork just dropped in. So I like to keep it organized. That might be a little thing that's OCD. So what do I gather from my potential prospects that walk up to my table? I get their information from them. I've typically stood and talked with them for 5 or more minutes. They've gotten information. I've showed them what they're getting. And then I will ask them if they would mind leaving me their information so I could follow back up with them and make sure that they get the links to some of the recordings that we have. So again, that's always my goal when I'm doing events. My goal is to gather information from people, because one of the things about this particular event, I've got an event I've been doing twice a month, every month for 2 years. And you guys, I get up on Sunday morning and it's a 3-hour drive. It takes me 10 minutes to set up my table. I'm there for 6 or 7 hours, and then I drive home. But over the course of the last 2 years, doing that twice a month, I've gathered hundreds of contacts that I continue to reach out to, not every week or every month, but they're in constant communication with me because I'm inviting them back to my next market that I'm going to be at. So again, our goal is to walk away with information and share with people. And I like being consistent with it too. If you can get into any kind of an event where they do them monthly, I highly encourage it, because you can tell people when they walk away that you'll be back next month. and sharing this information. So just a couple little tips that I've learned. This is some graphics, you guys, and I'll show you again a picture at the end of my tabletop. These are graphics that I have found on Facebook pages, on just the website. You can do a lot of search. A lot of these graphics come from Facebook, and I print them in a 5x7 size, put them in a frame, or maybe it's 8.5 by 11 in a clear plastic frame, but just some things to help, kind of decorate your table. So one of the things that I started doing immediately, in fact, it was a little bit of a fetish. I did not throw away my empty sleeves. So I ended up with so many, and they made great table props, right? And especially because they're all empty. I don't have to worry about someone walking off with one of my sleeves of patches. Again, I've printed up all of these documents that are on there in these plastic frames. Super simple. I use Canva a lot. If I'm doing an event, you can see this particular one. I put the logo of the event, the Healers Market logo, in the corner, and it kind of specializes it for that specific event. And then you guys, the trifolds, I used to buy those. You can buy them like 10 for $5 in the back office in your store. But I save all of mine, and that's what I have out on my table. And honestly, people don't often take them because I send them with a packet, but save those things and just stick your label on the back of them. They make great table props. And then you guys, this is what the back of my car looks like when I'm going to my event. I've got a tote bag with everything that you saw on my tabletop in my tote bag. I have my cart. I've got one banner. And then the table and the folding chair, that just stays in my car. I don't often use that unless I am doing an event outside. So you can see it's so, one of the things about the market that I do twice a month on Sundays, some of those people arrive at 8 a.m. for an 11 o'clock market to start setting up. And I come wheeling in about 10:30, and I'm ready to go at 11:45, ready to work my event and talk to people. So I want to open it up and see if anyone has any questions. A couple of things that I will share with you is, how do you find events? I know a lot of people are probably wondering that. You guys Google fall festivals in your area, Google metaphysical fairs, Google holistic markets, natural healing. Eventbrite is a great resource. I find holistic markets all the time through Eventbrite. And then I had a question from one of my brand partners this morning about, how do you approach people? Just ask them if there's any vendor opportunities, because they're always looking for vendors to come in and to be available to their clientele. And then the cost of them, they can range anywhere from free, the ones that I do in the gymnasiums or in the fitness centers, free, all the way up to, they can get really pricey. But honestly, the most I spent was about $350, but it was worth it to me because I knew 4,000 people were going to be coming through that particular market on that day. Again, consistency. If you can find a market where they do it monthly, be there monthly and show up and let people know that, come back next month. I'll be here again if you've got any questions. But of course, we do want to follow up. And again, be outside of your table. And for me, striking up a conversation, my first thing is always, how did you find our market? What brought you here? How did you find us? I'm constantly asking people that, because that helps me now know where I can go to look for other markets. So those are just a couple of questions that some of you may have had. Is there anyone that wants to ask any questions? If you want to unmute yourself.
I do, Leah.
Okay.
It's Diane. I actually put it in the chat, but what would you say, because I've done events before with lots of other things, but what would you say is your success rate in terms of follow-up? And I mean, could you put, is there a percent? Is it 5%, 10%? When you make contacts, how many people want more information or actually either become a brand partner or just a customer? I mean, is there any way to know that?
Here's what I tell people, Diana. I have built in the last 2 years, I have built probably 85% of my business through these markets. Now, that's
a
what
good
I do.
testament.
That's what I do mostly. Now, out of those, I've found a lot of builders, right? You know, at one of my, it was a women's healing retreat I went to as a vendor that participated. And now I have a presidential director out of that group. So for me, I'll always do these markets just because, and you have that magnetism, I can tell, to draw people to you. I love meeting people. I love the belly to belly. I love that connection, that personal connection.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You had great ideas, by the way. To save those empty sleeves is brilliant.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
I usually go to LA Fitness, do member appreciation day. I'm a massage therapist. I usually put my chair. If I want to do just market for this, what do you recommend? Do only one, I believe, right? Because we're trying to do both with my leader, and nobody kind of like, maybe I didn't follow them, but we put patches, we patch people, and they feel good, but nobody signed. So what is your recommendation?
Well, I agree with you. You need to decide one or the other. You know, that's trying to have a foot in two doors at the same time. But, you know, you don't need much.
So,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But you don't need much in
Also,
terms of
like
you
in
can.
my massage,
Go ahead.
in my massage practice, so I just patch people with not actually I patch them with when they have a pain, and also I just like realize I just not follow up. This is what I need to do. Because people feel result right away if they have a pain.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
so
huge.
thank you.
You're so welcome. And you know, that's one of the things, you guys, if people are open, and not everyone is, if people are open, they get a patch. If they have pain, they get a set of Ice Wave, because I want people to continue walking around the market and they will come back and their pain is gone. And, you know, that's what brings me joy, is if I can give someone 12 hours of pain relief, then I've done what I was sent there to do, right? All right, anyone else? Jess has a question.
You just answered one of the questions of whether you actually patch people. Starting out, it's too costly for me to do that, but I continue to do it when somebody's really in need. So you answered that, but I'm also, in terms of doing, I was used to, in the past, I used to do very large events where 8,000 people would come through, and it's very intense to do it on my own. So I had someone, because I was offering mini sessions for the work that I do. So in this situation, are you able to manage on your own? And you're typically not that large an event, of course, but do you typically invite someone to support you? And I also had one recommendation, if it's all right, to I always did a fishbowl for a free, you know, something for a drawing at the end of the event. So that was how I would have I would print out short, small pieces of paper to get their information, so that they would drop that in and then give away something at the time. So
yeah, that's a great idea. And that's a great way, again, to get the names and phone numbers. That's our goal when we do events. Now, have I walked away a time or two with an order? Yes, but not typically. But yes, and to answer your question, what I do on, yes, I've invited people to do, I'm always inviting my team. I would love for people to do events but they have to love them, right? If you don't want to talk to people all the time in that one-on-one, because it is tiring at the end of the day, but I have invited people. But that event that I did up in Saratoga Springs, where I said there was about 3,000 or 4,000 people coming through, the week before, I do a lot in Canva. And what I did was I created a 8.5 by 11 or an 8 by 10 size that said, scan me for science, and I can send it to you for science and research, and the QR code, and it took them to my website. So because I knew there were going to be people I wasn't going to get to talk to. And sure enough, I saw people coming up and scanning. So at least it took them, and our website, you guys, are so great. There's the light videos, all the things. And if someone wants to go ahead and shop, let them. I've captured their information, right? Even if they signed up as a preferred customer, I've got their information, and now I can start communicating and following up with them. So I do like, especially if you can get people to work with you on your team, that's great. I think it's great because it's learning for both of you guys.
And then do you share the leads that come through?
You do. And for me, my market is not so, back to back people. And what I'll do is after I've spoke with someone, I'll flip their card over and I write down everything they told me. So, that's a way you can keep track of the people you talk to, because you absolutely want to be the one to reach out to them after you've had a 5 or 10 minute conversation with them. And then if there's some that are just middle of the road, then you just divide them up. Yeah. Those are great questions. And it's, and it's honestly, it's great to go in with exactly how you guys will work that, right? Because you don't want any hurt feelings. I will always give my team people to follow up with because I want to help them. So
thank you. I don't have a team yet.
Well, you will.
But I will.
They will come from the events.
Thank you. This has been great. Both of you.
Oh, thank you. All right. Anyone else have any questions? Jill
Leah,
does.
yes, Leah, I did.
Thank you. Oh, Leah, thank you. I have been taking pictures of all your stuff. We have an event today. There's 3 of us doing it, and we're 2 of us, one is my team and one is not related. And we have meetings constantly to figure out what we can do better. But one of the things that I liked about, well, tons of things I liked about your things, but one I noticed that I really pulled out, these order forms, and they're all available on biz.com, but I noticed yours omitted preferred customer. And I don't know where you got that unless I make my own and fold that down. Where did you get that lovely thing? Because we like wholesale.
Well, I made that. I did a little doctoring of it, and I'm happy to send it to you. If you'll just text me,
you got it.
Let me give you my number and I'll shoot it over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And anyone else, you guys, if there's anything that you saw on my presentation, please reach out. I'm happy to share any and everything. One of the things that reminds me too, let me give you my number. It's 210-405-1158.
Great.
And
also,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say also, I have my QRs, but I like that you say you have your QR and you have scan me, which is super cool because some people don't know how to do it or don't know what it means. So that was another plus on you that I took off of you. And I have a doctor in Tampa, and I left one of my tabletops, which is actually bigger than my hand saying. But I noticed Pat Tom's party, she had a little tabletop that had a lot of information. I said, no, I didn't read any of that. I like the one that just says stem cells, like blatant in your face. So I got that. I went to my girlfriend's doctor's office and I took it over. I said, hey, I'm rearranging your front office. And she's like, okay. I left the stem cell thing because she's on my team. She said, dear God, it's a game changer. Just bam in your face. And it's my QR. I said, hey, it's up to you. to go change that. But anyway, thank you. I know there's limited time.
That's
Thank you so
You're
much. Lee.
so welcome, girl. And you know what I recommend is going to your chiropractor's office and being in there for 2 hours during his busiest time to share for him.
I had a question, Leah.
Yes, ma'am, Miss
do I-
Rhonda.
On follow-up, sweetie. So I just had an event that I did, and I had a lady that had neck pain. She was a dance instructor. I put the ice wave on. I found a place where she could actually do her ballroom stance without pain. So I know that it was working when I put it on her. And when I followed up the next day, she's like, well, I didn't really feel anything and I'm not interested. Can you give me some advice for those kind of follow-ups?
You know, me personally, let it go. She's not your girl. It's not her time to be blessed with this technology. And that's, you know, you guys, when I feel resistance from people, and you know what, I've said that before, it may not be your time to be blessed. I don't know that. And that's okay, because there's a lot of other people that are open to it. And I don't know if that's the politically correct response, but they're just not your people. There's a lot of other people that are praying for it, and we have to find them. Yes, ma'am, Miss Debbie.
Hi.
Was that it, Rhonda?
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello?
Yes,
Thank
Miss
you,
Debbie.
thank you.
Oh,
I want to know how to do that QR code. I mean, do
In
we call you?
Canva, you guys, it's really easy. In Canva, if you are familiar with Canva, you can generate your own QR code. You just click the QR code button, and then you tell it what website you want it to go to, and it's going to create it and put it in your image. And then you
Okay.
can size it and make it as big or as small as you want. It
Have you
also
s-
does it in Vista Print. If you're doing business cards, you can make a QR code. It generates it and puts it in the image for you.
That's so cool.
That's
You
awesome.
how do you spell that?
Canva,
Uh-huh.
a CANVA. It's an
Okay.
app that I use to make all of my graphics.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're
This
so
is
welcome.
awesome.
Good.
Hi, I have a
Hello?
question.
Okay. Yes, Miss Fawn.
Hi, this is all so great. I love this. And I've used Canva a little bit before, so it's exciting to know we can actually do that. So I'm glad she asked that question, Debbie. But my question is just regarding, I love the idea of giving away something and having the bowl and having people getting the information that way. What kind of things do you recommend, like for gifting? I mean, do we give away a whole sleeve? I
5
mean,
days
what-
of samples.
or a set of patches, like 4 and 4?
5 day. I would do 5 days of samples. Or
Okay.
maybe it's 3 X39s and 3 Eons. I know Marcy's kind of moved a little bit toward doing, 3 sets of that dynamic duo that Dr. Stacy loves so much. But yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
have to be a whole sleeve.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, I'd like to be able to, but not yet.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good goal. And
Thank
my
you.
goal is someday to be able to have product there to sell for $150 because people will buy it.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've got time for
Thank
maybe one more question, you guys.
can I go?
Yes, who is this?
Eliza,
Hi, Eliza.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi. So I just have a recommendation. So I have 5 people under me, and I've noticed that when I speak to a lot of clients, they're a little bit hesitant in jumping in on the 100 or the 500. And I felt that if I was able to offer them like a sample of like 5 to 7 days of a patch, it would really help because people are more likely to spend a little money on a sample than having to dive into the additional amounts. I eventually
you do that?
tried to sell to them, but it would just help these like a sample of a 7-day that they would pay, like, and it would just, I think it would really, really help because people are more likely to invest 7 days as opposed to, sometimes making the big plunge on a higher.
Absolutely. I've got a gal on my team that puts together packets just like that and she sells them. So get one of your sleeves of X39, break it up into 7 days and sell them for $35 each and make your money back. That's a great idea.
I guess that's, you could just divide it evenly among the, if it's $70 for LifeWave divided by 30, And then,
Right,
yeah,
$5 a patch
Yeah.
is what I would charge,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's
All right,
really good.
I think we can get to one more question. Tim, I think you
Hi.
had a question. I see you up there.
Good. Hi, Leah. New to all this, just curious, aside from events, what are the other routes to, get people's interest or to get, just to start the whole process?
Well, the contacts in your phone, your family members, your friends, and just share with them the technology. Just share a little bit with them and say you found something that that could help them. Have them take a look at it. We're just sharing. Kind of always keep that in your mind. We're sharing information. We want people to know that there are alternatives to harsh medications and other things, and helping people get their quality of life back. So a
Perfect.
lot of different avenues. Social media is another one. If you've got friends on Facebook, Messenger, just start sending some messages and say, hey, I found something. I'd love for you to take a look at it. Are you open? Keep it
How about,
simple.
Leah, how about starting with a frame? Starting with what it
Starting
is,
with that frame. Yes.
the emotional part of you, Tim, why you're in this, what you're excited about.
There you go.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your time. And Juliana, thank you for the amazing insight to really dig deep inside of yourself and, figure out your why, right?
Yeah, and thank you, Leah. It's been great to go in and then go back out and how we're going to use this. But don't forget the frame. I hope I didn't just speak to thin air and not have it go in, because it's really effective. Just try
I
it.
took notes. I got my notes, girl.
Good. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this hour, and we look forward to seeing you next week on the business call. So happy you're all here.
Bye. Thanks,
Enjoy
everyone.
your weekend.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye-bye. Mhm.
Very cool. Thank